Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is Rav Shmuel ben Yehoshua, Rashbi, Rabbi Stephen, Rabbi Epstein, whatever you like. Some people are now calling me Stephen. So I became a rabbi, and I was very proud of that. It was the fulfillment of what I realized was a lifelong dream. And that's why I said, no, it's rabbi, but I think I'm kind of starting to come down a little bit from that. So it is what it is. Um, so I want to thank everybody that participated in our Tish'a B'Av events. You know, again, I've always had, or recently I've had kind of mixed feelings about Tish'a B'Av. And as I talk to other rabbis and Jewish clergy, it seems that that's kind of a prevailing feeling. Is it something that is outdated? It's kind of an all-inclusive day of disaster. First temple destroyed, second temple destroyed. Jews were kicked out of England. World War I began, which people believe was the beginning of the Holocaust. So there's a lot of things that people look at. This year, of course, we're looking at the anniversary of October 7th, which is a couple of months away. But still, there's more to mourn. Yet we still have Israel. We have Israel. Israel is thriving. They're thriving because of the technology. They're thriving because they're beating down aggression. So why not celebrate instead of mourn? And yet this whole October 7th thing really lets us know that there's still a lot of people that don't like Jews. And of course, I'm being a little easy with that because it goes beyond that. So it's kind of a call to action. The fact that we really have to focus on being Jews and doing what God wants us to do. We have that covenant. And God has always stood by us. Even when there was a Holocaust, even when there were the pogroms and the Inquisition in the Middle Ages, it all kind of worked out. And I say that, and I'm not discounting the fact that people died in some cases very terribly. It's horrible. But and there's people being killed today. We have the hostages are dying. People fighting in the IDF are dying. And any way you look at it, it's not a positive thing. But let's at least look at that and say that our people are strong. And sometimes things happen for a reason. So let's look at this week's portion, Parashat Eikev, which, by the way, was my bar mitzvah portion. I did the Haftorah. It was actually one of the longer Haftorahs in the Torah. I didn't realize this until I just did it, and I was really into learning the cantillation on its own. I guess I was just very dedicated even then. So, okay, enough about that. The tie-in to Ekev is that Moses reminds this new generation, kind of tells them a little bit about, what God has been doing for them for the last 39, 40 years, and makes some interesting points. In Deuteronomy, we start to get a little bit more information about what happened and why. So Moses reminds them, God sustained you while you were in the desert. God fed you with manna. And this is where we get the expression, man does not live by bread alone. What does that mean? It means that there's more to life than just the physical nourishment. There's the spiritual nourishment. As you take in food, you need to also take in Torah. Very important, because that's our spiritual legacy. But the fact is that even in times of duress, even when we had turned our back on God, God did not turn his back on us. Even though we had the Tochah, and God said, well, if you don't, obey the covenant, then guess what? Then I too will forget about my end of the bargain as well. Kind of works both ways. But God has always said, when you come back, I will be here with open arms to welcome you. Now, one of the things that Moses says is God had tasked you to test you. Beautiful statement. Beautiful statement. Why do we have problems in it? Why do we have challenges? And this was expanded on in the Talmud. One of my favorite portions, favorite parts of the Talmud. And I even know the tractate and the page. It's Berachot 5, the end of A, beginning of B. Very important because at that point, it addresses why bad things happen to good people. And God tests you to see how you react. God tests you for the challenge to give you something to overcome so you can feel good and you can develop new tools to deal with the adversities in life. And it's a test of love. That's one of the things that they say. So basically, that part of the Talmud in Berachot 5, A and B, it's kind of a commentary on this particular portion. God tasked you to see what you would do with the challenges. And unfortunately, that generation was not up to the task. What does God say to Moses before he delivers his edict that they're going to spend the next 39 years dying off in the desert? 10 times you test. 10 times. You complained about the water. You complained about the Egyptians chasing you. You complained about no food. You complained about no meat. You went out, the spies went out, and they came back with this negative report. And we also learned, as we've learned in Deuteronomy, that it was really the people that went to Moses. Now we learn a little bit more that they said, we want to know what we're in for. And Moses is like, okay, you think, all right, well, good idea. Let's, check out the land, reconnoiter, do a little reconnaissance and see what's in store. Little did anybody know that maybe they were doing this because they wanted to find fault. See, we're not up to the task and we're going to justify it because we don't want to extend ourselves. So that was a big part of it. We also get, at the end of this portion, we get the second paragraph of the Shema. Now, everybody knows the Shema in the first paragraph. It's the V'ahavta. And you will love the Lord your God with all your might, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. That was in last week's portion, in V'yat Kanan. So now we get the second, a little bit longer. Now, a lot of sages compare the first paragraph of the Shema, the V'ahavta, as God's right hand of mercy. And a lot of rabbis say that, in contrast, this second paragraph is God's left hand of judgment. Of course, the right and the left are metaphorical, but we look at God in human terms. Because what it basically says is it talks about reward and punishment, or, if you will, karma. It says if you obey the commandments, if you cling to the covenant, then the land will give up its produce. You will get the rain in a proper season, the early rains and the late rains that will sustain your produce so that you live. And then it goes on, and if you don't, the land will not give up its produce. It will be iron. You will work the land in vain, et cetera, et cetera. It also has the same commandments as the V'ahavta, but a little bit different. So in the V'ahavta, it says, and you will bind them as a sign upon your arm, and they shall be for frontlets or tefillin between your eyes. Okay? That's in the singular in the V'ahavta. In this paragraph, it's in the plural. Your arms. Between your eyes, not just the two eyes, but everybody's eyes. Now, why is it in the plural? Because we're all one people. We're responsible for each other. Strength in numbers. That's why we need a minyan to do certain things, in the synagogue. Some people are a little bit more liberal. Well, we kind of got 10, maybe not, maybe we do. We're not supposed to count. So, and that is appropriate in a certain context. But the bottom line is that it's everybody's responsibility to make a minyan. We have a Torah service at a certain time. We need 10 people there, 10 Jews, so we can do it. So that's a big part of it. You are responsible for everybody. Love your fellow as yourself. Again, honor the stranger. Big thing about honoring the stranger. You look for reasons to include people, not exclude them. I know that there have been times when, people have been excluded for one reason or another. I'm not going to go into that now, but a lot of people who know me know my feelings about that. We like to be a welcoming place. We want to be a light among the nations. And in order to do that, we need to be a light among each other, among ourselves. We need to be welcoming. We need to embrace diversity, which we've done. Okay? A Jew is a Jew, a Jew. Somebody says you're Jewish, you're Jewish. Well, not see my certificate. I don't have a certificate. I've got a bar mitzvah. I don't even have a bar mitzvah certificate. I've got a chumash with the date of my bar mitzvah in it. I could have written that, So, but everybody knows I'm Jewish. Because I am. All right. So you're Jewish, you're Jewish. That's it. Okay. All right. Sorry for my rant, my tirade. I get on my soapbox, my high horse every now and then. Okay. Thank you all for listening. And as we've passed Tish'a B'Av, we now go into getting ready for the high holidays. Salichot, September 28th, Rosh Hashanah, October 2nd and 3rd, Yom Kippur, coincides with Shabbat, October 10th. Okay, Shabbat Shalom, or 12th. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you as always for listening.